Today's lesson is going to be over making a substance that is different from a normal liquid and a normal solid. If you could go swimming in a pool of it, it would feel like a liquid when you move slowly through it, but it would act like a solid if you tried to move quickly. Crazy, right? Are y'all ready to get your hands on what we call oobleck slime? We decided to teach the experiment to allow students to understand the scientific method in a kid-friendly way. Not only do the students get to be observant on what they see, but will be hands-on throughout the entire experiment. They will use the 4 out of 5 senses to understand the scientific method in its entirety. Oobleck slime is a simple mixture that shows changes in pressure and not temperature. This is for grades 2nd and up. We will be reading a book called Bartholomew and the Oobleck by Dr. Seuss and making oobleck slime in 3 different ways to show what different effects the materials have on the mixture.
Slime, and we're basing our lesson off of Bartholomew and the Oobleck by Dr. Seuss. So this story is about a king who was tired of things falling out of the sky like rain, snow, and fog, and he wanted something new. And so he had Bartholomew call upon these magicians, and he asks the magicians, "I wish," spoke the king, "to have you make something fall from my skies that no other kingdom has ever had before. What can you do? What will you make?" For a moment they stood thinking, blinking their creaky eyes. Then they spoke a word, one word, oobleck. "Oobleck?" asked the king. "What will it look like?" "It won't look like rain, won't look like snow, won't look like fog, that's all we know. We just can't tell you any more. We've never made oobleck before." So oobleck is like a slimy substance falling from the sky. So that's why we are choosing to make slime as our lesson.
At the beginning of every experiment, we always start off with a question. The question we decided to ask ourselves was, how do different materials that can be added into this experiment change the form of slime? Following the question, we come up with some hypotheses. A hypothesis is an educated guess about what you think will happen during the experiment. We came up with 3 different hypotheses that we thought would be best shown throughout an experiment. The first hypothesis that we came up with is, if we do this experiment as normal, then the slime will be sticky. Our second hypothesis is, if you add shaving cream as an addition to the normal materials used, then it will make the slime less sticky. Our third and final hypothesis is, if you add more activator to the slime, then it will not be stretchy and it will just tear apart. Following the hypothesis, you begin the experiment by testing to prove that your hypotheses are correct. My friend Christina is going to demonstrate how this is done. I would like to remind y'all that this activity is for 1st and 2nd grade, but can be modified for any grade after that. There are different ways to perform this experiment, so we decided to show you all 3 of them. There will be some add-ins that are added to change the feeling of the slime. Some different ways to do this is by adding shaving cream, lotion, or flour. The main materials that are needed for this experiment are as follows: 3 small tubes/containers, borax detergent, warm water, measuring cups, teaspoon and tablespoons, Elmer's glue, a plastic spoon, shaving cream, and food coloring.
Alrighty, so now we're going to get ready to make the slime. Reagan's already talked about what materials we're going to need for this project. So let's get started. Alrighty, so before we begin making the actual slime, we're going to need something we call activator. So for that, all you're going to need is borax and a cup of warm water. So I've already got the water here and I've already got the borax. And I went ahead and I already scooped out a teaspoon. So we're going to go ahead and just pour the teaspoon into the cup of water. Make sure it's warm so we can go ahead and dissolve all that pretty quickly. You're going to go ahead and just stir it really well. You want all of that borax to dissolve, which makes a very nice activator. This is what's going to react with the glue and make it the slime that we want. Alrighty. So, I have already put the activator into a bottle of water, into an empty bottle. You can choose to put it in anything you like, or you can just pour it straight from here. I'm going to use this whole cup later. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and just put all this to the side. And I'm going to use what I have left over from this batch. Okay, so now we're gonna get 3 containers. I am using glass just to show you what's inside. You can see it really well. So I've already poured glue into these 2. We're gonna use Elmer's glue, and I'm gonna use 1 full bottle in each of these. So that way we have the base for the slime. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in. Now this is going to take a minute, so I'm gonna go ahead and come back whenever this is all in. Now we've got glue in all 3 of these. So what we're gonna do next is identify which one's which with some food coloring. So we're gonna go ahead and do blue for what's going to be our regular one. We're going to make yellow our activator one. And then we're going to go ahead and make a fun purple, which is going to be our shaving cream. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 different kinds of slime. So I'm gonna make normal slime, which is just gonna be glue and activator. I'm going to make shaving cream slime, which is going to be glue, activator, and shaving cream. And then I'm going to make extra activator slime by making glue, activator, and even more activator. So by our hypothesis, we believe that this one with the shaving cream is going to make it less sticky to your hands than this one might. And this one, we believe that it's going to make it less stretchy than this one will be. So we're gonna go ahead and get started and add those ingredients. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and just get some shaving foam, and we're going to add about the same amount of portions as the glue, so like a 1-to-1 kind of ratio. Okay, I know it looks like a lot, but it'll be okay. So this is going to be our shaving cream, and then for our activator, what we're going to do is we're going to add, to start, you want to add a tablespoon. So you never want to start with too much, and it's just going to be a process as you stir. So we're going to go ahead and pour each of these. So again, I'm just going to start with a tablespoon. Okay, but for this one, we're going to add more as soon as we start mixing. So as you can kind of already see, the glue's like already reacting. It makes it less glue and more slime. As you can already kind of see, it's getting like less liquidy and more chunky. So the more you stir it, the thicker it kind of gets. As I was saying, before we really get these into where we want them to be, if obviously 1 tablespoon isn't enough, you want to just keep adding 1 tablespoon until it really gets to that consistency where it's not sticking to the spoon anymore. So if it's not sticking to the spoon anymore, like right now it's still pretty liquidy a little bit, and it's sticking to the spoon, you need to keep adding some more activator. So for this one, I'm gonna go ahead and add almost our full cup full, so we can go ahead and see. Okay, so this one's obviously going to be a lot of activator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stir all 3 of these, our more activator, our shaving cream, and our normal one, until they get to the perfect consistency where they're slime, and then I'm going to come back and show you the results. And we kneaded, and we mixed, until we got the perfect slime for all of our mixtures. So we're going to go ahead and talk about them today. To start, we're going to have the regular base. This was just the glue and the activator. So as you can see, it's pretty shiny. You can just push it down. It's really not too stretchy, but it's not too hard either where it's ripping apart. Again, it's like the perfect slime. So it's really nice. As for stickiness, in this case, if I'm just like playing it with my hands, it's really not sticking to me. However, if I was to hold it like this, it does stick to me some more. But I can easily just dab it off, or I can just pick it up and it'll go right back on there. So I have control over the stickiness. It's really nice. Again, not too hard, not too soft. The perfect base slime. So we're gonna go ahead and look at the next one. Oops, the shaving cream. So this one was the glue, activator, and shaving cream. So obviously, because we added a lot of shaving cream, it was going to be bigger, so it didn't fit in the cute little containers. So let's just go ahead and look at it. Again, it's still pretty shiny, but I don't know if you can tell, it's super soft. So if we put these two together to really look at it, it's so stretchy, like it's just falling out of my hands. It's super, super fun to play with. It's not hard where it's ripping apart, but it's so much stretchier than the regular one. So it just falls loosely out of my hands. As for stickiness, again, just playing it with like this, not sticking to me, not a problem. If I do hold it like this though, it does stick to me, like the regular one does. But again, I have control over it, so I can just take it off, I can just dab it really quick and it'll come off. So again, that is the shaving cream slime. And lastly, we have the activator slime. So this one is glue and a ton of activator. We added about 2/3 a cup in the end of activator. So initial reaction, really hard. So if we just kind of take this out, it's not moving. If you look at it, it's really not moving. Like if we compare it to the shaving cream slime here, the shaving cream slime's already starting to flatten, and you can see it already starting to like pour out of my hands. This one's not moving. Look, you see it just coming down my hand. This one, however, is not moving. It's pretty solid, and kind of it's still squishy, but like it just rips apart. So it's not stretchy at all. It doesn't stick to me at all. It's just a solid goo, not really a slime like the others. So for stickiness, none at all. For stretchiness, it just rips at the seams. Kind of looks like an omelet. Alrighty, so those were our slimes today. So we have the regular, the shaving cream, and the extra activator one.
How do different materials that can be added into this experiment make slime change its form? With our hypotheses that we started off with, we had 3. Our first one was if we do this experiment as normal, the slime will still be sticky. It will just be its normal stickiness. Our second hypothesis was if you add shaving cream as an addition to the normal materials or ingredients used, it will make the slime less sticky. And then for our final hypothesis, we said that if you add more activator to the slime, then it will not be stretchy and will just tear apart. What was the result of our experiment, and were we on target with any or all of our hypotheses? Through the course of our experimenting, what we realized was normal slime made with glue and activator can be somewhat sticky when held tightly for a time, but can also be easily dabbed off. We also found that the one that adds the shaving cream is much more stretchier than the others. The slime did, however, have the same stickiness as the original recipe with the glue and the activator. And then finally, the slime with more activator was much harder than the other two. There's not much movement. It's squishy but rips apart. Instead of stretching, it also doesn't like stick to anything. So for the first and second hypothesis, even though the original slime was somewhat sticky, it wasn't more sticky than with the shaving cream. So after experimenting, we discovered that our third hypothesis was proven to be a fact. When using more activator, the slime did break apart and it wasn't stretchy at all. So in conclusion, slime can react differently based on different ingredient combinations and different measurements of the ingredients. So go forth and make some slime.